Hey friend, welcome to Biblical Studies Today Sermon Spotlights. Todd Chipman here, Dean of Graduate Studies, Associate Professor of Biblical Studies at Midwestern Baptist Theological Seminary, and teaching pastor at the Masters Community Church. Sunday, wrapping up the Gospel of John, just the last two verses, and providing an opportunity to look back at what we have identified so far. At the Masters Community Church, we began the Gospel of John the first Sunday of 2024. Here we are, about a year and a half, progressing through, been such a rich study. And here John's gospel concludes with his authorial perspective, different than Matthew, Mark, or Luke, when he says, this is the disciple who testifies to these things and who wrote them down. We know his testimony is true. John's doing apologetics. He's wanting to verify what he has written. And then he goes on to say that, if the world couldn't even contain, hyperbolically speaking, all the books that would account all of Jesus' activities and his signs, what he did. Well, it's these signs that he did that John uses to structure his gospel. And my hope this week, whenever I preach, I'm thinking about literature, history, theology. And here, concluding, looking back, I always do a review sermon when we're done with a book. I follow that same tripartite idea of literature, history, and theology. Here, I want to emphasize John's authorial perspective and what he says literarily in closing his gospel. Historically, I want us to remember the broad scope of what it meant to be a follower of Jesus. And notice Nicodemus' progress from night to public identification with Jesus. And historically, that's a challenge for John's audience. I'll try to bring that out. And theologically, the richness here. We're celebrating 1700 years of Nicaea. What an opportunity to think about the eternal Son taking up flesh in time to suffer and die. Here we have God in the flesh speaking to us, and we have his revelation for us. So it's these ideas I'll tease out. I'll note these miracles and how they connect with one another, and these broad themes, how John's gospel, so long, has a wholeness about it. And whenever you read it, John would want you to read all of it and see it. Even if you're just reading a couple of chapters, to see all of his message. The next book that we're going to be looking at MCC, 1 John. If we wonder what the Gospel of John would mean for the local church, we have it right there in 1 John. Those doctrinal emphases coming out and how we can live in light of God's revelation of himself in his Son. That's Sunday. Looking forward to it. For more sermon spotlights, go to biblicalstudiestoday.com. For more information on preaching classes, go to mbts.edu. See you next time.